All right, so before we continue on with the slideshow presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit about the things that are coming up. So in 2 weeks from today, oh wait, no, or is that next week? Not next week. It's 2 weeks from today. Okay. 2 weeks from today, we are going to be at the bed making competition. But on Tuesday of that week, we're going to be at the Fairfield Spring Hill Suites. That's going to be downtown at Alamo Plaza. Okay. And so I will post directions. I'll post parking information. I'll give you a variety of different options. I'm really cheap, and I will walk like 3 extra blocks if it means I don't have to pay like $1.50. But I also discovered recently that San Antonio has entered the 21st century, and you can actually pay your parking meter with your phone, and they have an app, SA Park. And so as your time comes up, like 10 minutes before, you can add more time to your meter without actually having to go out to your car. It's brilliant. I love it. I've done it in so many other cities, and so I love that San Antonio finally has that. And so we'll do that. We'll basically do a tour. We'll do a front of the house tour and a back of the house tour. This is a really unique property because they share laundry facilities. They share a pool. So it's a dual property, but they share different things, right? But they have their own separate breakfast areas. They have their own separate lobbies. And so it's really unique, and that's a big trend that's actually happening a lot in our industry lately. And so we'll go to that, and then also they're going to put a connecting room on reserve for us, and so that we can practice making beds. So they're going to show us the process of how to make beds, and then on Thursday, we will be volunteering at the Sala bed making competition. So this is during National Housekeeping Week. And so for this competition, housekeepers come from all different hotels. It is an 80s rock star theme. So you can come dressed in theme as long as a professional, okay? Like everything's covered, I'm thinking, right? So just make sure it looks professional, but you can come dressed in 80s themes. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm sure it'll be something fun, right? Last year it was superhero themes, and so people wore capes. I mean, so you can get into it, the theme, or you can just come in. This is a casual event, so you can come in jeans, please no shorts, but you can come in jeans and like a St. Philip's College t-shirt, or a polo shirt. You can come business casual, okay? And so that's completely appropriate. And so essentially what we're gonna do is we are going to be there as class from 10:45 to 1:30. We will not have class that day. The majority of things that happen during that time frame is the registration, the check-in, and a little bit of the competition. A little bit of the competition. And so with that, if you are able to stay, if you don't have a class afterwards, the competition I think goes all the way till 3 o'clock. And so if you're able to stay, think about that. And next week on Tuesday, I will pass around a sign-up sheet to see if you can stay afterwards. So if you want to think about it, or if you want to write a piece of paper right now that you can stay afterwards, just let me know. It just kind of gives us an idea of how many helpers we're going to have, volunteers we're going to have. Our main role is to work together as team members to basically unmake the beds. So the housekeepers make the bed, the judge will judge the bed, and then we have to take everything apart and refold it and get it ready for the next person. Last year, I think was the biggest year they've had, and I mean there was like hundreds of housekeepers that compete, and so it goes pretty quick. And it's really fun too, because you have the housekeepers that are competing, but then you also have their coworkers and their team members that are cheering them on. And so it's all about team building. I like to use it for the management leadership course because it shows how general managers kind of help and reward their team members for doing a great job. Most of these hotels will have internal competitions to see who is going to go and actually compete on behalf of the hotel. The winning housekeeper takes away $500 cash, And so these ladies and gentlemen are in it to win it. And you'll see it's really fun because you'll see like the professionals like wait, they let other people go first and then eventually they'll kind of like sneak into the middle of the competition, they'll come into the end. And so it's really fun. Like people will watch how people are making the beds and it's really cool environment. There's a lot of high energy. It's really fun. So if you can stay afterwards, great. If you can come before, I think start about 9 o'clock is when we're gonna get there, is when I'm gonna get there, and we have to stuff all the swag bags and kind of get things set up for the event. So if you can come before, I've mentioned it to Mr. McNair, because I think he has the management leadership class right before this one. And so I've mentioned it to him. I'm not sure, in the past when I taught that class, we all just went as a field trip. But I can't tell another instructor how to give their class time, how to use their class time. So you might bring it up to him and ask him if that's a possibility, if you wanted to come and volunteer and do that beforehand. But any questions, comments, concerns about that? So I will post directions, I'll post maps, I'll post all that stuff for both of these events. All right, so let's get started with the actual topic of what we're going to cover today. So we're going to finish classifying our hotels. What are some of the ways we already talked about classifying hotels?
Size.
Okay, so the size, the number of rooms they have, okay. What else? The service level, okay. And how do we designate those service levels?
AAA or the diamond.
Okay, so AAA does what? What does AAA award?
Diamond.
They award the diamonds, okay? And then it's Smith Travel that does the stars, okay? And so it doesn't really, 4 diamond versus 4 stars, there really isn't much difference. It's the only difference is who is actually giving that recognition, okay? So we heard service, level of service, size, what else?
Market segment.
Market segment, okay? So what segment of the market are we serving? And so we talked about, you know, are they downtown hotels? Are they airport hotels? Are they convention hotels? Are they conference centers? What is the purpose of their guests, right? So one of my favorite hotels is the Hotel Valencia. It is a beautiful hotel. They have the best water pressure in their showers. And it's just an amazing hotel. I love the Valencia group. I'm actually going to stay at the Texican Courts, which is their Hotel Valencia, the Valencia Hotel Group. They have this concept called the Court. And it's essentially like a nod back to the old motel style of motels, where it has the exterior corridors that face an interior courtyard. And then, and so and all the refrigerators are like 50s style, like retro refrigerators in the room. It's really cool. So if you do like Texican Court, there's Lone Star Court that's up in Austin, but I'm gonna say Texican Court in Irving this weekend for a couple nights and go check it out. But I forgot where I was going with that. Hotel Valencia Group. What were we talking about?
What type of hotel it is?
Oh, the segment. There we go. Okay. So on a field trip, I've taken students there a couple of times, and this director of sales, when we talk about adjusting our rates, you know, if we don't have a lot of occupancy, if we don't have a lot of our rooms sold, one strategy to get your room sold is to do what? Lower your rate. Maybe your rate is too high and people aren't wanting to pay that rate, and so Stacy, the director of sales, she mentioned that sometimes you don't want to lower your rate too much because you're going to attract the wrong guest, okay? And not that there's anything wrong with that, but she knows that if she drops her rate low enough, she might attract what she calls soccer moms and ice chests, okay? And we don't want the other guests that are accustomed to staying at Valencia Hotel Group hotels, don't expect to see soccer moms and ice chests rolling through the lobby, right? Is there anything wrong with those guests?
No.
No, they just have a different clientele, okay? And so sometimes you don't want to lower your rate at the risk of having a negative impact on the guests who are your regular loyal guests. Okay. So we're going to talk about these different types of guests that we have. So these 4 different groups: business, pleasure, group, and international. All right. So business travelers, what is their main purpose? They travel for business. Okay, what is an example? Who can give me an example of a business traveler? Okay, so USAA is a major employer here in San Antonio. Tens of thousands of people employed by USAA, and they have employees all over the country. Okay, so they might send their employees from here out to the different outlying businesses or offices throughout the country, or since their headquarters are here, they may bring a lot of their employees that are in the other offices to San Antonio. Okay, and so those are people that are traveling specifically for that purpose. What other reason do people travel for business? Like what are some specific? So training. So specific training that can happen, whether it's a convention or a conference. What else? So meetings, so maybe like board meetings or executive meetings. You might have salespeople from all the hotels within a branch, within a company. They might all meet in one location. Okay, good. What else?
Trying to acquire new customers.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So you might be a salesperson and you're trying to get more business travel. So BT is short for business travel. BT, all right here. Business travel. And not all hotels have a BT person, a BT salesperson, but some hotels do. And their main role is to go after the business travelers, okay? And so my friend Michaeline is the BT salesperson at the St. Anthony Hotel. And her role is to sell the St. Anthony Hotel to companies like USAA, to sell the St. Anthony Hotel to companies like Alamo Colleges. So that when Alamo Colleges brings people in, they want them to stay. So they might negotiate a lower rate, but they're also going to negotiate that you have to stay at the hotel, a certain number of room nights throughout the year. So you're going to contract with a certain number of room nights, but you're going to get this lower rate, okay, in order to do that. And so, but then as she is the BT travel salesperson at St. Anthony, she then knows when they book that rate, she knows that there's one of her clients, whether it's the actual person she worked with or it's someone from their company, she knows that they are there staying at the hotel that time. And so she makes sure that she is down in the lobby and greeting that person and say, thank you for selecting the St. Anthony Hotel, just to make sure that person feels really welcome, okay? And so BT is another part of that group. And so, like Sandra said about acquiring new clients. So Michaeline will actually go to conferences where they're bringing all these meeting planners together. They're bringing all of these businesses together, and she will go and say, please consider the St. Anthony Hotel as your go-to hotel when your company comes to San Antonio. Good. Does that make sense? Okay. Anything else? That pretty much covers a lot of it for business. Business travels typically come during the week. Okay. And so during the week is our business time, and the weekends is more of our leisure time. Unless, of course, we're in a holiday season like summer break or spring break, then we have to really balance that leisure travel with the business travel. Okay? All right, so leisure travel, they typically spend their own money. So one of the differences between a leisure traveler and a business traveler is the business traveler is spending the company's money. Now they probably have a budget they have to work within, but at the end of the day, they're not spending their own money. So people who are leisure travelers tend to be a little bit more price conscious. Okay? They want they want the most bang for their buck because they've worked hard for that money, and now they're spending that money here in San Antonio or wherever they're going to go on vacation. Okay? So the amenities that these different groups want or need are different. So some people, especially with a large family, some people like the idea of having a complimentary breakfast. Some people don't really care about the complimentary breakfast. If the company's paying for it and they get their per diem and that's what they get to spend on breakfast, lunch, and dinner, well then, whatever, I'm gonna go wherever I want. I don't care if the hotel has a complimentary breakfast. But if I'm a family and I've got 3 or 4 kids to feed, if I can get free breakfast in the morning at the hotel, holy cow, yeah, eat as much as you want. Because that means if you eat a really big breakfast, I'm probably taking some apples and oranges back to my room too, maybe some yogurt if I have a little mini fridge in my room, right? And that'll be our afternoon snack. So they're a little bit more price conscious, they're a little bit more budget conscious. And so that's one of the major criteria of leisure travelers. Does that mean every leisure traveler is price sensitive? No, there really depends on, again, on the hotel you're at, the clientele that stays at the Marriott River Center Hotel is different from the clientele that's going to stay at a Marriott Fairfield Inn, okay? Because the clientele that stays at a Marriott River Center Hotel, a full-service Marriott, is going to expect to pay for their breakfast. They're going to expect to pay for parking. They're going to expect to pay for all these amenities. But a guest who's a regular guest at a Fairfield is going to expect a complimentary breakfast. They're going to be the one that's going to be like, what do you mean you're going to charge $42 for parking in a downtown Fairfield Inn? Okay, well, we're in downtown. If you don't want to pay for parking, go to a Fairfield Inn that's not in downtown, that has complimentary parking. So as I was booking my hotels for this weekend, I'm going up to Denton tomorrow to speak with my advisor. And so I'm at a Homewood Suites tonight, and then up in Denton, and that has free parking. And then as I was looking for my Homewood Suites for today, or for tomorrow night, in the Dallas area, I was like, oh, I have to pay for parking. I was like, but Homewood Suites, I love Homewood Suites. And so it was between that or Embassy Suites. I might actually change my reservation and go to an Embassy Suites, because Embassy Suites has the food in the evening, right? So all those things are different things, that criteria that help us change and factor into what our guests are also looking for. What are some places that you guys have traveled for leisure? Baltimore? Okay, excellent. DC? California and Vegas? Orlando? Anybody else? New York? Anybody travel in Texas for fun? Corpus? Okay. Dallas? Galveston? Anybody go to Galveston? Anybody not been to Galveston before? You should check out Galveston. It's a pretty fun place. Very chill, laid back, relaxed environment. They have a really cool thing called Dickens on the Strand. So the Strand is like their historical area, part of the island. And at Christmas time they do a whole Charles Dickens thing. People are out in period clothing and things like that. It's really fun. So yeah, Galveston's fun. The beaches are not like super pretty. I mean, the water's not blue, but the beaches aren't like dirty. They don't have trash and stuff on their clean beaches. It's not white sand, okay? We're not in Mexico or in the Caribbean, unfortunately, but you know, you gotta make do with what you got. But yeah, so people travel for fun, and they also travel for business. International travelers. Has anybody traveled internationally? Okay, cool. So what are some challenges about traveling internationally? If you don't know the language.
I find the rooms are smaller, what you get is smaller, like they're on a smaller scale than we are.
Okay, a little bit smaller scale, so the rooms are a little bit smaller. Yeah, I went to Scotland a few years ago, and my friend and her husband, they had a double, and I had a single. And for me, like single is just like a double bed, right? Or whatever. No, it was a twin size bed. One twin size bed. I was like, okay. And the TV was one that had a little VCR like tape in the TV. And this was one like 4 years ago. I was like, wow. And that was a tour hotel. And so they focused on, their main group was their, like what we call bread and butter. Their bread and butter was dealing with tour groups. And so like we were there for 2 nights, and each night like a different tour bus would load up. And then they had like a stand-up comedian in the lobby area who was not very funny. We just went and had like 1 drink for a nightcap, and then we're like, okay, let's just go to bed. Like 2 channels on the TV.
But for something like that, though, if it's tour groups, they're not gonna be in the room.
Exactly.
So they don't have to focus.
Exactly, absolutely. Yep. What else? Anything else traveling internationally? Currency exchange, okay. Yeah, so you might have a service in your hotel with that currency exchange if possible. That same trip to Scotland, I had to use my ATM, I had to use my debit card, and I don't know why I thought that the ATM machines over there would not take my debit card. And so I was like, when I did it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is so much easier. And those currency exchange places charge such enormous fees that and so the other day, I was like, the couple days later, I was looking at my bank statement online, and I was like, what did I spend $32.52 at an ATM machine? I was like, oh yeah, the conversion rate. But yeah, so I was just like, that's so cool. My bank does the conversions for me. I don't have to, and they charge me $1 for a foreign transaction fee. I mean, right now, Works charges you $1 regardless of where you go, if it's not an RBSDU ATM machine. Okay, so yeah, so currency exchange. Good. What else? Anything else?
The electricity conversion.
Electricity. So you might make sure that you have in your hotel. How many of you who have no idea what what do they call them?
Current.
A converter. You have to actually have special plugs. Like their plugs don't look like our plugs.
They're different wattage.
Right? They have different wattages, and so you can't even plug your phone charger in because their plugs don't even look like our plugs. And so you have to make sure you have those converters. And so if you are a hotel that, deals with a lot of international guests, then you might maybe have those converters adapters already in the rooms or available for people to use. Okay? Something else that I realized one time when we went to Italy is that the first floor, like rooms 100, are typically where? On the ground floor, right? I walk into the hotel and I've got rooms 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, when we went to Italy, bless you, rooms 1, like all the 100 rooms were on the 2nd floor because it was the lobby, and then 1st floor, 2nd floor, 3rd floor, 4th floor. And so they didn't tell us that, and they said your room is 100. I'd be walking around the downstairs looking for my room, right? And so also the other thing too, and I think a lot of hotels in the U.S. I think are kind of moving towards this. I've seen this a couple of times, where you actually have to put your key into a slot inside the room, and that turns the electricity on in the room. So when you pull your key out to leave the room, the power will automatically turn off. So you don't waste energy with lights and fans and things being on in the room while you're gone. Yeah, absolutely. And so the 4 Points by Sheraton.
Oh.
And so you want to make sure that, if you are an international hotel, that person might be coming and saying, hey, where's my little thing? And we don't have that, Or if you are international and you have American travelers, they're like, my power is not working, okay? So if you see that, then to alleviate that, you might add a process in your check-in process to say, hey, by the way, don't forget, you're gonna put this into the little key slot for you to have electricity. Even Homewood Suites, I haven't seen it in all of them, but I saw the one that I stayed in last year in San Marcos. They have a master switch, so it's kind of the same concept, that as I'm walking out the door, it's a master switch that turns every single light off. But then when I come home, it's Homewood Suites. Okay, when I come back to the hotel, I flip that one switch, and then the ceiling light comes on, the fan comes on. Everything that was on before automatically comes back on. So it's like a master kill switch to save electricity. So it's kind of the same concept of that. Influences. What are some things? So on a piece of paper, I want you to write down some things that would influence you to travel. or to select a specific hotel. We all have different things. We kind of talked about those amenities we had last time. So obviously the amenities that you think of are things that might influence you to stay at a hotel. For me, free parking is definitely one of them. So I want you to think about, right, as many as you can think of, things that would basically be deal breakers. If they did not have it, you would not choose that hotel.
If they
It's
didn't
a
have
deal. Yeah, if they didn't have it, it'd be a deal breaker. So that's a preference. Okay, so now that you have your list, who wants to share one of your items? Actually, let's do this before. Right? Okay, everyone stand up. Stand up. Let's get our blood flowing. Okay. Sit down if you have less than five. Less than 5 criteria. Okay? 6. Less than 6. Yeah, 6 or less. 7 or less. 8 or less. All right, the pickiest traveler. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Awesome. So everyone has different criteria that we are. Here, what do I have? I think I have. What do you want? Snickers, Almond Joy, Butterfinger, 100 grand, Twix. Here, just take them all. The pickiest traveler. All right. So. Okay, so tell me, I'm going to try this, I'm going to practice this as well. I think I can write on this while we are having a discussion. So thanks for being my guinea pigs. Who wants to say one thing that was important to them? Yes? Price, okay.
The distance?
Okay, so the distance to attractions. Okay, pet friendly. Wherever you stay at that hotel, I don't want to. And that's okay, right? I love animals, but I don't want to stay with them. And that's okay. Anybody else? A bar, okay? Yes.
Traveling at the airport, shuttle service.
Okay, shuttle service. Okay. Oh, definitely. Although I say that, where did I stay? Oh, the Omni Hotel. I got a 2-night stay at a gift certificate for a silent auction that I paid too much money for, but it's okay. It was for charity. But I say it, and I went there. It was just a couple weekends ago, and I was there for about an hour outside, and then all the kids showed up. I was like, oh. We have an adult-only pool, please. Just kidding. I did stay at a resort in Tucson on my way home from my road trip. And they had an adult-only pool. It was 18 and up only. I was just like, this is wonderful. I was like, please put me in. Originally, they had me like in the big lodge area, like the big hotel area. And they had these little casitas, those little houses, like around that area. And they put me in the little casita. It was the last one. I just asked to check in. I was like, can I get an upgrade or I didn't ask for an upgrade. I just like, can I just get one that's close to the adult-only pool? And they're like, sure, we have one casita left. I kid you not. Like I walked in and it was bigger than my apartment. I was just like, what is going on? It was crazy. It was awesome. I'm glad I stayed 2 nights. Okay, anybody else? TV. What kind of TV? Any TV. So it could be one with a little VCR control, the VCR tape in there.
I went to a motel. They had no TV.
Oh. Well, most people have their laptops now. You just go on Wi-Fi and watch Netflix.
But.
Wi-Fi, there we go.
Several, like Motel 6 will charge you for Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Wi-Fi password.
Okay. So free Wi-Fi.
And that's every Motel 6.
So, yes, ma'am. Free breakfast. Okay, or a restaurant to begin with. What's that? Smartphone app? Oh, yeah, absolutely. So having an app. So, I'll tell you this. I was Marriott, hardcore Marriott Rewards for the longest time. And then I had a 1-night stay at the Embassy Suites downtown the Riverwalk for a silent auction. I buy too many of those. But I walked in, they're like, do you want to join Hilton Honors? You'll get free Wi-Fi. I was like, yes, I do. And since that day, I have switched, and I have like over 500,000 points from Hilton because of that. Because someone offered me free Wi-Fi. And I was like, yes, please. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago, but still, it's like that free Wi-Fi and those rewards programs, I'm gonna put that on their loyalty programs. Those definitely help because I can't book through Orbitz and get my Hilton Honors points. I have to book through Hilton Honors to get that. And they even have, I'll finish this thought, then I got you too. They even have now that if you book through the app, then you get an extra 2,000 points, or what, they'll have different promotions. So then it helps get people to using that app. I can literally get on the app and within 5 minutes have booked my room. Even the one that I did for Friday night at the Homewood Suites in Dallas Market Center, I was even able to adjust so I could pay partially with points and partially with dollars, all on the app, and within 10 minutes. It was crazy. So yeah, technology is moving forward. Alberta.
I love the Westin Inns because of their comfortable bed.
Yes, the Westin bed. The heavenly bed. Oh my gosh. How many of you have never experienced the Westin heavenly bed? Don't tell me. I'm going to put this on pause for a moment. All right, Gabriella.
Between the Marriott and the Hilton, would you say the Hilton is better?
So, okay, so here's the thing. Have you taken the CTA class before?
Yes.
Okay, remember that CTA question? Would you recommend X over Y? Here's how you got to be careful how you answer that. Okay, there's different benefits for both. Okay, and I've seen the one thing I love about Hilton is they have the digital key. They were the first company that introduced the digital key. Marriott is starting to do it, but the last 2 times I've stayed at Marriott properties, the digital key did not work as effectively as the Hilton. So anybody not know what I mean by digital key? Okay, I literally can open my door from my phone. So I'm getting off the elevator and I can access the digital key. I hit the button and my door is unlocked by the time I get to my door. Okay.
You don't have to go to the front desk.
You don't have to go to the front desk. Yeah, I can bypass the front desk actually. I get an email that says my digital key is ready. I have to stop at the front desk because I have to go through Hilton Honors, meaning they already have my contact information. They already have my credit card payment. They already have all that for me in my Hilton Honors. I don't have to go to the front desk. And so it's beneficial. I do like that.
How secure?
When it comes, it's fairly secure. I don't think, because it's specific to your phone. Like you have to add it to your phone. You also have to request it. You don't just get it automatically. You have to request it. Yes, ma'am.
Just about the digital key, gold and diamond bypass, blue for sure has to still go to the front desk, and team members and family members have to still go at the front desk, because usually they'll try to, someone that's not on the employee reservation, they try to do the digital key and then send somebody out.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah.
So we have to verify.
And the Embassy Suites that's in Dallas Market Center, I stayed for spring break a couple years ago. Never again. I'm not going to travel on spring break ever again. But it was rock and roll weekend, so I had to go for the half marathon. And I was silver. And so typically it's blue, silver, gold, diamond. Platinum's even higher than diamond?
Oh,
Marriott. Gotcha. And so typically blue, because anybody can sign up and be blue member of a blue level of Hilton Honors. And so blue still has to stop at the front desk because they want to do a physical swipe of a credit card. And so by the time you get to gold and diamond, or platinum, sorry, diamond, you have established it, right? But what this company, this Embassy Suites up in Dallas was telling me, I had to stop by, and I was like, I'm silver. Like, I don't understand why I have to stop by. I will because I have to. And he was like, oh, well, we have a lot of issues with fraud. And I'm like, well, one, you shouldn't tell your guests that you have issues with fraud. And two, he explained, I was like, tell me more about that. And so the second thing, because I want to know to teach you guys. And so he was saying that people who have blue and even sometimes at the silver status, because sometimes they have promotions where you get automatically upgraded to silver when you first join, they would connect a stolen credit card or a false credit card number to that Hilton Honors account. So if they pay for it through the Hilton Honors app and they use digital key, there's not a physical swipe. So they don't actually know that card is stolen until they actually try to process the number. And so as a security measure and to protect their financial assets, they required everyone who was blue and silver to stop by, so they could do a physical swipe of the card in order to. I always stop by the front desk, even though I have digital key. I'll always stop by just to get a physical key, just in case my phone's dead or whatever. You know, I want to make sure I can still get into my room. And also, sometimes the digital key doesn't work. And so, so I always stop by the front desk regardless. But yeah, so that's really cool. I do like that. Between Marriott and Hilton, they have very comparable brands, right? So the Residence Inn is very similar to Homewood Suites. And so to me, it would be more about price sensitivity, or if I have just some points. I don't really have as many Marriott points as I do the Hilton points. But yeah, good questions. Any other questions, comments, concerns about this? So I do have some questions. So past satisfactory experience, will that influence your decision to stay at a hotel or not? Okay. What about ads by the hotel? Will that influence you? No, possibly?
I don't really see the ads anymore.
Okay. What's that?
I don't believe that.
You don't believe ads?
No.
Sometimes you keep like a special price with the ads.
Okay, they could give you a special price on the ad. One of mine, have y'all seen, our industry is combating our third party, our online travel agents, our OTAs, which are like Expedia, Orbit, Kayak. You know, we're always combating that because we get less money than the guest. You know, the guest is paying $100, but we don't get that full $100 from that guest.
Priceline and Hotwire are the worst.
Priceline and Hotwire, yep.
I think it's like a
And
70-30
travel
or
price.
something like that.
It depends on the negotiation, but they can be up to 30% of the rate that the hotel has to pay as like a fee to that. So the guest pays $100, and then we only get $70 out of that rate, right? So that affects our overall revenue.
What I do with that, like I'll go to like hotel.com, but I'll actually go to the website of where I want to stay at and compare the prices like that.
Okay, yeah, so then you look about booking direct, absolutely. Yep, then you definitely can do. The benefit of doing an OTA, an online travel agent, is that you can compare Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, IHG all together, right? And so if you are that price sensitive client, that price sensitive guest that really just wants the lowest price, it doesn't matter what brand you stay in, then that is something that's beneficial because you will get that lowest price, okay? So one of those things that we're combating is those OTAs. And so Marriott, a few years ago, came up with the Booking Direct commercials. And I can't do it right now, but I'll pull one up and we'll watch if I can find one on YouTube. They're actually they're pretty comical because they use a comedian as part of the ad. And so not so much I'm doing an ad for this particular hotel, but I'm doing an ad that's going to make you think the next time you book, oh wait, I need to go book at Marriott, right? I need to book direct at Marriott, not going through travel agents or online travel agents. What about recommendations by family and friends? Will that influence your stay? Depends on the family member, okay. It depends on the family member. If they don't like you, then you're not going to trust their recommendation.
Well, but they have different criteria.
They have different criteria, absolutely. So what they value may not be what you value.
Yeah, like I would probably take my friend's recommendations over my parents'.
Absolutely, okay. What about their location? Yeah, so we'll talk about diversification. We'll talk about things like that in a later chapter, but location is really key. So if my goal when I come to San Antonio is to go to the Alamo, I'm going to be looking for hotels probably at the Alamo, near the Alamo, or Riverwalk. Now, there is this one hotel, it's on Broadway, and I can't remember, I haven't been by it in a long time, maybe I'll drive by it today later. But it says Convention Riverwalk Alamo Hotel. And it's actually a motel. But I'm like, you are nowhere near the convention center. You are nowhere near the Alamo. And the Riverwalk is like 3-4 blocks away. You know, and so you also have to be careful that it, as a traveler, we have to make sure, because otherwise you're gonna have guests that have an expectation. If you are a Riverwalk hotel, they're going to expect to be either on the Riverwalk or within a block or two, okay? If you say a convention center hotel, then they're probably thinking they are within walking distance of the convention center, okay? And so you wanna make sure that it's accurate, but also, like, if my main goal is to go to Six Flags, I'm probably not gonna stay downtown. My only goal is to come to Six Flags. I'm probably gonna look for hotels that are over by the Six Flags area. So the location of your hotel can also dictate the types of guests and types of clientele you're gonna have. Preconceptions of a hotel based on its name or affiliation.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that affect anybody's? Does it influence any of y'all's decision to stay at a hotel? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yeah.
Okay.
With me, it's been like, well, I mean, like here, Hilton, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be pricey. But with me, it's always the price
Okay.
and location, like you said, I live on a limited income, so I gotta stay within my budget and.
So that preconception that Hilton's an expensive brand, okay? Is every part of Hilton expensive?
No.
Probably not, no. I actually, but a full service Hilton is gonna be expensive, right? I was actually really surprised. The whole reason why I selected the Homewood Suites at Market Center in Dallas for tomorrow night, was because it was $97 for the night for a Homewood Suites. I was like, and it's a holiday weekend. I'm like, that's crazy. But they may be a business hotel that on the weekends, they might have a lower rate because they want to attract those leisure travelers, okay? And so you might have that preconception. Same thing with Motel 6. I think oftentimes Motel 6, Best Westerns, Studio 6 is part of Motel 6. Super 8s, they have that negative connotation of being a budget hotel. And is their bed going to be as super comfortable as a Westin Heavenly bed? No. But you might be paying a third of the rate. Is it still something that you can sleep on? Probably. You know? It depends. Okay? So you know, it's all about the preconceived notions that, you know, there's nothing wrong with those hotels. Okay? And so, you know, it's just all about what the guest is looking for. What about travel agent suggestions? How many of you use a travel agent? Anybody use a travel agent? Not really. I mean, they're becoming less and less popular unless they're very specialized or specific, like people that deal with cruises, or they deal with group tours to like a set tour of Italy, like a wine tour of Italy. Like those travel agents will sell those specialized tour group packages or like cruises. And a lot of times businesses also will have kind of a travel agent that they use, a travel agency that they will use that will make recommendations and set up those hotels and things like that.
Or they have a deal if they get someone to buy from this room, like they're offering you so they can make money even though it's not a good hotel.
Okay, so do you think so you don't necessarily trust a travel agent because they have that.
Yeah, they have that.
They want the commission.
You just buy it because
the hotel gives you commission.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That can be a preconceived notion of utilizing travel agents. Absolutely. Okay. How about ease of making reservations? If it gets too difficult to make a reservation, do you just scratch it and move on?
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, what is I don't know what the general rule of thumb is, but I want to say if it's like less than 2 clicks away, if you can't do something in less than 2 clicks on a website, people give up. I mean, that's crazy.
We want you
2 clicks. I mean, holy cow. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah. So the ease of making reservations. I also saw this one time I was going to Austin for a crawfish boil fundraiser. And I realized I saw a movie trailer and it said something about like crawfish, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta book a hotel room. And so during the preview, I get on my Hilton Honors app, and before the preview was over, I had a hotel room in Austin. And I compared and looked at them and everything like that. So it's pretty easy now if you have that. What about quality of service, cleanliness, and appearance? Absolutely. Okay, that definitely is going to influence some people. The thing here is, if you're going to take pictures of your hotel, they better match what the actual hotel looks like. Okay. How many of you have run into that experience where you look at pictures online and you get there and you're like, this is not the resort style pool that I was expecting.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you want to make sure that if you are marketing your hotel, especially now in the days of Yelp and TripAdvisor and people be able to take a picture with their phone and post it directly to their comment, you want to make sure that you have that truth in advertising, that everything actually looks the way that you're presenting it. Loyalty to a brand, yes or no? And loyalty to a brand doesn't have to mean Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, Hotel Valencia Hotel Group, Omni. It doesn't have to mean that it can mean that, but it could also mean that am I only going to look at Embassy Suite hotels? Am I only going to look at Marriott Fairfield Inn? Or, you got to think about am I only going to look at Hampton Inns? Am I only going to look at Hyatt Place or
You're not gonna look for America's Best.
America's Best, okay? Yeah, so America's Best hotels, those are usually like long-term hotels, extended stay hotels. So if that's something that you're interested in, then that type of hotel is something you're gonna be looking for. Okay, they might have a full kitchen or like a small little kitchenette, a little bit more space to spread out. Okay, and so it really kind of just depends on what people are looking for. And so it's important as you go into your different careers that you identify who is your client, who is your guest. Okay, and that's going to help determine how you spend your marketing dollars to attract those specific people. You might also look and see, we attract a lot of these people right here, this group. We don't really attract a lot of this group here. So what can we do to attract this group? Maybe we don't have free breakfast yet, but if we can figure out a way to include free breakfast, that opens up a whole different demographic of people that we can look for. Okay, and so you're gonna start thinking about it. Now, we do have what's called brand standards, right? And so you have to meet the standard to be part of that brand. You have to maintain those standards. And oftentimes you have to ask for special permission to go outside that brand standard. So the Comfort Suites that's downtown here on this side of 37 does not look like a traditional Comfort Suites. And so Sherry Chaudhry, the owner of that hotel, when she's the owner and she's the builder of that hotel, so she planned it, she built it. She had to ask for the Comfort Suites brand. She had to ask, can I do this? That's not it's outside the brand standard. We have brand standards, so that way if guest stays at a Comfort Suites here or a Comfort Suites somewhere else, they're gonna get a similar experience, right? And so, she's like, well, I want to have different elevators, like a more quality elevator that moves faster. I want to have this. I want to have this. This is not part of the Comfort Suites brand. And so she was able to do that. And when you walk in there, it does not look like a traditional Comfort Suites.
Is that red pinkish looking?
Yep, absolutely. Frequent traveler rewards programs, does that matter?
You tell us.
It does to me. You guys know the answer. For me, it does, absolutely. Right? I'm holding on to those points. I don't know why I'm holding on to these points. I don't know why. But even now, like Hilton Honors has gone to so far as now I can buy concert tickets with my points. Now I can buy experiences with my points. I don't necessarily have to just use them for hotel stays. I can actually buy experiences with my points. Lyft?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I did. Actually, you know what? That's a very good point. I've been Uber for the longest time, and not that I switched to Lyft, but I downloaded the Lyft specifically because if I use my Hilton Honors American Express, I got like 7 times the points. And I got 25% off my first 5 rides on Lyft. And so I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. It gives me a chance to experience the other side, Uber or Lyft. And again, I'm not like super brand standard for that or loyalty to that. Whoever's going to give me the the best ride for the cheapest ride, whatever, I'm fine with.
I know in Dallas, Uber drivers, like, I requested one from the hotel to the club that we're going to, and it said 10 minutes away, and I said, okay, cool. It got there within like 4 minutes. I was like, were you speeding or something? It's like, damn, I got here quick. And then from the club, we went to Waterbury, from Waterbury, requested another Uber to go back to the hotel. And, I mean, I had just barely hit send, that girl was already there. I'm like, whoa.
Yep, it definitely can be an efficient way to travel. What about website design? Does that make a difference to you?
Sometimes it goes like not put together well,
Yeah,
half-assed, it's just like,
language.
is it real?
Yeah,
It's like-
exactly. Is it a legitimate website? Okay. Now again, too, like part of having those brands, you know, that's what you buy into. If you have a franchise property of a certain brand, you're buying that package, right? You're already buying into that. So if you're an independent hotel, you have to create that on your own. You don't have that already. Social media reviews, does that influence your decision to stay at a hotel or not?
Yeah, I think everyone goes off that basis.
Sometimes, I mean, not everybody, but I'm also of the opinion that, you know, nobody's gonna be perfect, right? People are gonna make mistakes. And so what I always try to do is I look at if someone has a 1 or 2 or 3 star review, I wanna see if the hotel actually responded to that 1, 2, 3 or star hotel
What
review.
their complaints were. 'Cause
And
a lot of
what- yeah.
times people are just complaining to complain.
Right, absolutely. So is their complaint something that I would complain about, right? If it was a severe or was something that I would actually complain about. If not, then okay.
Like if they just say this hotel is garbage, leave a 1 star and don't extend anything else. It's like,
Yeah,
I just think everyone checks all those beforehand, that they do not use the social media.
they possibly do check them. Yep, they
If
do.
you say, oh, it's 4 stars, but like I know everyone's gonna go, oh, because it pops up automatically when you pull it up. It just shows a few reviews at the bottom. You can click to see more of them. Like, oh, this place has roaches, and it's like, you know, people are gonna see that. They're not just
Right.
not looking at it.
But again, too, if that place had roaches and it was 2012, well, then I'm also going to look at the reviews between 2012 and 2019.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they don't have 7 years of roaches growing up in that hotel. Okay, so it really kind of just depends on the situation. Absolutely.
But then there's situations where you get those reviews, like you said, 2012, but then there's nothing posted after that.
Right. Exactly. So they fixed the problem.
well, that's
Right.
what you said too, does the hotel respond? Because a lot of times you'll see the hotel response to those apps.
Mm-hmm.
I think that carries a lot of weight to it.
Hey, man, you shut your mouth.
It does, because it's almost like they actually are following up. They actually do care, right? It's not just, oh, they're just there to complain. They actually do care about following up and making it right, okay? That's what our industry is about. I mean, our industry is about a lot of things, but we're also about service recovery, okay? Because guess what? We are not going to be perfect 100% of the time. We are human beings. We cannot be perfect 100% of the time. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have a bad day, okay? I think it's one of the biggest challenges of working in hospitality is that you have this expectation that you have to be on all the time, okay? You can't have a bad day because you've got to be there to give great, exceptional service. And as much as we can, that's wonderful, but guess what? We're human beings. We're going to have bad days sometimes, okay? And that might influence how we act at work. Okay, we don't want it to make it a regular thing. We want it to be more the exception, not necessarily the rule. But so we want to make sure we're able to have those service recoveries methods in place so that we can recover when we have service errors. Yes.
I remember when you told us the story about that really horrible place you went to, and they had like hair, and that was like your, oh, that's it, I'm done.
Oh, the one the one in Savannah. Yeah, I'll never go back to that hotel ever again. I never will. Yeah, 4 different times I had to tell them to get the hair out, and they never did.
In your
So,
pool?
no, in my bathroom, in my hotel room. Yeah,
So it obviously wasn't.
it was not.
Like, you really
It was
hated
not an exciting visit.
She had a dirty room, we just left. I said, I'm not staying here, my family's not staying here. We left, you're not charging us. We didn't even give them a chance to clean up.
Wow.
We've had
horrible.
that happen when we give exceptions for the guests if they really don't wanna stay at the hotel. After they go to the room, they're like, I was expecting something else, and it's like,
Like, they should have
we can
left
just-
the room at that
Yeah.
point.
They just left.
Yeah, they offered us another room, I was like, no, I don't even wanna see another room, I just want to leave this hotel right now. It was
Yeah.
so dirty, I mean, that's how dirty it was, and
Yeah.
I stay in hospitals, so, I mean, not the hospital standards. I probably have very low standards, I guess, I know. I'm the hotel snob, I am not, but it was just way.
Makes you wonder who was in that room beforehand, you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
So blogging, social media, all these things, social networking, this has become more and more popular. I mean, now it's almost like the standard, right? Everyone, if you're not on social media, if you're not maintaining your social media site, there actually now is positions at the hotel that you are the social media coordinator, or the social media moderator, or whatever, administrator, and your only job, not maybe the only job, but part of your job is to monitor all social media outlets for the hotel, so that you can respond to those comments. I mean, people get paid to be on Facebook and TripAdvisor and doing all that. That is their job, to respond to that and follow up.
A friend of mine owns a restaurant in Baltimore. He said that actually a Yelp review nowadays carries more weight than a legit newspaper review.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
More people are seeing that, and they're basing their opinion off of someone's opinion by someone who that's their job, and they look for certain things.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yelp is, if you're not having someone actually monitoring your Yelp page, then people are seeing things that are maybe not so factual, and you can't delete Yelp reviews.
so bad.
Okay, unless TripAdvisor and Yelp, unless you can in some way, I don't know the ins and outs, the intricacies of Yelp, but unless you can actually prove that it is a fraudulent, so they'll actually look, like, even if your friends, if you see a lot of people are giving 5-star reviews, they might actually start questioning those 5-star reviews, the legitimacy of those 5-star reviews, right? And so just because it's like, oh, you're just trying to flood your ad, like your page, with 5-star reviews, and so oftentimes Yelp is monitoring that just as much as you are. Yes, ma'am.
Our social media salesperson had to be on alert because somebody on Google, posted on Google, you can create a loop location on Google. Somebody created that we had a parking garage in the front. And it's like, we do not. Like, I saw online, and we literally Googled parking garage, and we found somebody had posted that we had parking. Our front drive was the parking. It's like, no.
Wow.
But you can take those down.
Yeah, we had to.
If you go to TripAdvisor, you cannot take those down.
Exactly. Yep, you can. It's there. All right. Hotel designated as green certified is an important attribute for you. Yes or no? Does it matter?
Now it's becoming points.
You think it's nice? Okay. Good.
The problem with that, though, is they call it greenwashing. They
Mm-hmm.
know that's the trend, so they're marketing that, but there is no set standard for what makes this green. The same with food. You'll see it in the grocery store all the time. There is no regulation that says, okay, what makes this green?
Right. And
So people are using that because there's no oversight in what it means.
right. But somebody who is very conscious about that, they're going to look to make sure that they're LEED certified, that they have those energy programs in place. And so just like any other certification, you have to meet certain standards. To be a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, you have to meet those standards. In order to get this certification through LEED, you have to have you have to meet those certain standards, and you have to maintain it. And so there's different levels of certification. You can be the basic level, or you can even be I can't remember the name of that hotel, but I think it's out by SeaWorld. They were one of the first hotels in San Antonio to use reclaimed rainwater. They had a cistern that would collect rainwater, and then they used that to water their landscape. Right? And so because they got that, they got one of the higher levels of the LEED certification. And so somebody who that's really important to them, they're going to look for that specific certification, not just somebody who says, it's nice, not just a website that says we're a green hotel, right? Even TripAdvisor, I want to say it's TripAdvisor, has certain levels of greenness, that the hotels can apply for, so that when they look for them, when those hotels come up, there's like a green leaf, I think a silver leaf, I think it's a green leaf, a bronze leaf, a silver leaf, maybe a gold leaf. And so they have to maintain certain standards. I think I saw that at some point in the last year or so. And so that's just something it is a trend. It is, people are becoming more conscious about it. The thing I don't understand about green being, they have like the signs in the hotel that say, a towel on the a towel on the hook means you're gonna reuse it, a towel on the floor means you want it replaced, right? And then I come back and my towel's on the hook and my towel's been replaced. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I'm trying to do my part. Like, help me be successful, please. Another one, I don't know if Bonvoy, which is the new Marriott Rewards. So for those of you who don't know, probably like 4 years ago, I think, Marriott bought Starwood. So Starwood was the Sheratons, the Westin, the W, and so what happened was Marriott bought all of those brands. So we had Marriott Rewards, and we had Starwood Preferred Guest, SPG program. Well, now they've merged after so many years, they finally merged to what they call Bonvoy. Okay, so that's their new rewards program. It's merged both those. When I stayed at the Westin up in Austin for a conference, they asked me, they're like, would you like 500 bonus SPG points to deny housekeeping service for each day? I'm like, for 2 days, I get 1,000 points. I don't need somebody to come make my bed. Like, I don't care coming back to my hotel room and my bed's not made, or I can make my own bed, right? I'm only gonna be here for 2 days, so yeah, I'll take 500 bonus points, And so what does that do? That saves the hotel on labor, because that housekeeper doesn't have to go in there and clean that room. It saves them on chemicals for washing the towels and things like that. Saves them on chemicals of kind of cleaning the prop. I mean, of course, now when I check out of that room, they're going to go in and do a clean of the room. Okay, I can't just say no, don't clean my room after I'm done, right? No, that's not how it works. But they offer those bonus points in order to do that, and I'm like, sure. And so I'm thinking now, I'm like, man, that's a great idea for the hotel to save on labor, to save on chemicals, to save on water. I mean, all that stuff is something that was really beneficial. And I get 500 points out of it, right? 500 points isn't going to get me much, but it does add up, and it's going to save the hotel.
But the housekeepers lose out.
No. It's actually beneficial to the hotel because housekeepers don't have to do those many rooms.
Right.
So, it's less work.
They still get
So your homework that's going to be due next week. I want you to select 5 properties in San Antonio. Okay, try to make them different. Maybe different brands, different groups. Tell me about what their size is, whether they're small, medium, or large. Okay, or less, whatever the slide. I can't remember what the breakdown of rooms are. There we go. Yeah, under 150, 150 to 299 to 500, and then 600 and plus. Okay, so try to find 5 different sized hotels. Now, if you want to call the hotel and ask them specifically how many rooms they have, you can do that. Or if you can find it on the website, you can do that. Or if you just want to estimate. Okay. So I'm not gonna go into like, oh no, that hotel has 302 rooms. That should be this size. Okay, I don't know that many hotels. But if you try to tell me the JW Marriott is a small hotel, I'm gonna call you out on that. Okay, it's 1,001 rooms. Classification based on the market segment. So think about where they're located. Are they located by the airport? Are they located downtown? What if you look on their website? What types of amenities do they have? And so think about that with the market segment that they serve, the level of service, and then the rating level. There's a diamond or not, diamond or star. Do your best. If you can't find out if there's a AAA diamond or a Smith Travel or Mobile Travel star rating, that's fine. You can use TripAdvisor star rating, but just tell me that the TripAdvisor star rating, that you weren't able to find one of the other 2 ratings, okay? Level of service, the difference between a full service hotel and a select service hotel, what's the major difference? The restaurant, the presence of a full-service restaurant. So even though Embassy Suites gives me dinner in the evening, or a happy hour, they give me snacks and stuff in the evening, they're still considered a select service hotel because they don't have a full-service restaurant. Okay, Drury hotels. How many are not familiar with Drury hotels? Okay, so Drury, D-R-U-R-Y, Drury is a brand. They have Drury Inn and Suites. They have Drury Plaza hotels. They also have Pear Tree. I think are the 3 brands within the Drury family. They're owned by the Drury family. They build all of their own hotels. They started out as a construction company. They build all their own hotels. They build the furniture in their hotels. It's all 100% Drury family, right? And so they have what's called their kickback, their evening kickback, where you kick back and relax, right? And it is a full-on dinner. I mean, they have like baked potatoes and chili cheese dogs and nachos and like vegetable and fruit and soda, and I mean, it's a full-on meal, and it's free. And even adults get 3 alcoholic beverages from the bar for free, right? Now, you're paying for it in your room rate, okay? Nothing's for free. You're paying for it in your room rate, but you think about it, if your room rate at a Drury Plaza hotel is $15 more than a room rate at a Fairfield Inn, right? They're still select service hotels, but they both give you breakfast, but you got a family of 5, it's not gonna cost you more, it's gonna cost you more than $3 per person to feed your family dinner, right? And they also have popcorn all afternoon, they have sodas all afternoon, I mean, it is, the Drury, it's a pretty good deal, right? And so, think about the level of service based on the amenities that they offer, okay? The biggest difference is that select service and a limited service do not have full service restaurants. The budget hotels,
Always do it every day.
extended stays don't always do like an evening thing. Sometimes they do like not Embassy, Staybridge Suites, which is part of the IHG brand, will have like an evening type of meal type thing, but they don't do it every single day. Same thing with Homewood Suites. I think they do it on select days. Now, Residence Inn does it on, I think, Monday through Thursday, depending on what hotel it is. But Embassy Suites does it every single night, right? And so it really kind of just depends on the property.
David.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain the classification based on market segment again?
Yeah. So the market segment is what segment of the market do they go after? Do they go after convention people? Do they go after is it a conference center? Do they go after leisure? Do they go after business? Do they go after airport hotels? Like what type is that? So if you go back to the slide that talks about market segment, it gives all those suggestions, okay? The other part of it is the review questions 7, 10, 11, and 12 for chapter 1. If you do not have your textbook yet, you can get a textbook from the library, okay? And you can just answer those questions, and you submit everything in Canvas. Everything is submitted in Canvas. Questions, comments, or concerns?
Both of these are submitted.
Is one assignment. It's all one assignment.
Just on one doc.